If you have ever been with a narcissist and you've questioned, like, why did they choose me? How did I end up in this relationship? Narcissists, like Gypsy Rose, choose their partners, their friends, based on certain characteristics. And today I'm going to go over those characteristics with you so that you can be more aware on how to spot them so that you don't fall prey to another narcissist in the future. Because narcissist relationships can really drain you in a lot of different ways, and they literally turn you into a different person. Most narcissists will choose their partner based on what it is that that partner can do for them. So most of the time, it's to fulfill a need for that person. It's not really about you and who you are as a person. It's about what you can do for them. Because they often need to feel admired or validated, they often choose partners that will do that for them in certain ways. And the partners that they choose, like the characteristic traits of a partner that they would choose, is somebody who they know is empathetic. So if you are naturally an empath, you are already more subjected to being in a narcissist abusive relationship than someone who is not an empath. So typically they are looking for caring individuals because they are drawn to people that have empathy and are more naturally inclined to care for others, even at their own expense. Empathetic partners tend to be very forgiving, understanding, and compassionate, qualities that the narcissist can exploit for attention and support. Now, I don't say this to be mean, but in the situation with Gypsy Rose and Ryan, Gypsy Rose preyed on Ryan's empathy and caring personality in a way to use to better herself. So she will never admit publicly that she used Ryan, but in certain ways she has admitted it without admitting it. Like in one interview, she said that he was from Louisiana. Well, just because somebody is from Louisiana doesn't automatically guarantee that you're going to have a lot in common with that person. So for her to make that statement was just very immature thinking, but she did it because she knew that when she wanted to parole and be closer to her family, her dad. And so in order to do that, she needed to have somewhere that she could parole to that was in Louisiana. And where does Ryan live? An hour away from her family. So he was literally the perfect candidate out of all the people that wrote to her because he lived an hour away and he was from Louisiana. Another characteristic trait that narcissists really gravitate to are people pleasers. These are people who struggle to set boundaries and prioritize their own needs. And narcissists will seek out partners who will go the extra mile to make them happy, often overlooking or excusing their toxic behavior. And we see this a lot with all the people in Gypsy Rose's life. Even her best friend, Bree, overlooks and excuses her toxic behavior. Ryan overlooked and excuses her behavior now. The last instance was where Ryan was saying that Gypsy tried to take like $12,000 out of their account so she could get Taylor Swift tickets. And he tried to brush it off as if it was something that she didn't know she couldn't do. That is excusing her behavior. He's trying to tell himself and everyone else that Gypsy is too stupid to know that as part of their separation agreement and part of the community support agreement that nobody was allowed to spend money, that she didn't quite understand that, which is bullshit. That woman understood that she was not allowed to spend money and she was trying to do it anyways to see if Ryan was going to let her get away with it even during their separation. And the fact that he says, oh, we laugh about it now. You mean now as in you're still talking now, or now 5 months ago when it happened? Narcissists also like to choose high achievers Because being with someone who's accomplished or well regarded elevates their own social standing, and they can bask in the reflected success of that person. And in one interview, Gypsy talked about how she was like the bad girl from across the side of the railroad tracks, and Ryan was the picture of perfection in her eyes because he's well educated, has a good family, has a good job. So I think that she thought that people were going to automatically look at her in a superior light because of the partner that she had chosen, in which they did. The parole board did look at her in a favorable light because they let her out on parole. She couldn't simply go in there and, not be married or be single and not show really any improvements in her life and think that she was going to get out on parole. But being married to a well-educated, respected teacher was guaranteed to offer her parole. And she knew that. And she used him, because look at what she's doing now. She had absolutely no intention on actually being a good person. She just wanted the parole board to think that she was at that time so that she could get parole. Narcissists also choose partners who have low self-esteem or are also trauma survivors, because they believe that these individuals are easier to control or manipulate. Trauma survivors or those with low self-esteem might tolerate abusive behavior longer, especially if they don't feel like they deserve better. Now, we know that Ryan has publicly stated how he worships the ground Gypsy walks on. Nick also publicly stated that he worshipped the ground Gypsy walks on. And if you look at both of these men, they're not very attractive. And I don't say that to be mean, but they're not very attractive. I'm not saying Gypsy is the picture of the perfect 10, but I'm saying in their eyes, she was probably better than a lot of the other females that they had probably had interactions with. And that makes them feel like she is the best thing that they can get. So therefore, they better not ruffle any feathers because they don't want to lose her as a partner, because they feel like after having her, they won't be able to attract anything better. So they're much more likely to put up with abuse and toxic behaviors and excusing their bad behaviors because they don't want to rock the boat too much. And the very last one is supportive or self-sacrificing types. And these are partners who are willing to take on the role of rescuer or fixer. These people are very easy targets for narcissists who want somebody to center their entire emotional energy around the narcissist. And I don't know if you remember that very public breakup scene in Love After Lockup, where Gypsy was talking about, oh, well, I feel like we're two different people. And Ryan was like, that's because we are. Narcissists really view you as an extension of themselves. So for you to have your own opinions, your own morals, your own values is not something that they're going to tolerate. They want you to simply morph into the person that is an exact replica of who they are, so that you are easier to control because you are exactly like them. In essence, they want you to change everything about yourself so that you are more like them, less like yourself, so you forget who you are, forget your own self-identity, so that you are easier to manipulate and be taken advantage of. And the best way to do this is to remove you from your support system. Because if you have too much support, then you're less likely to go along with all this BS that they're filling your brain with. If you have been in a relationship like this and you are struggling to find yourself again, just know that it does happen. It does take time. You are not alone. And if you need somebody to talk to, put something in the comments below and we can keep the conversation going.